Hey everyone, welcome back to my workbench. So I've been working on a very large batch of controllers for the 5200. The fleet is getting very close to being completed, which is good. Let me see. It looks a little scary. Oh my goodness. But that is what the fleet looks like now. I'm going to be getting it out. I already have one boxed up over there somewhere. There it is. That's boxed up. And then this is more getting built up. All the final cables are attached to it. Just going through the final assembly steps. I was just going to show you what's going on there. If you're wondering why is there a yellow one over there, that is a reworked unit, and those we usually get whatever parts I have extras of, because I sometimes when I'm doing the CNC work, it galls out some of the plastic if my chip extractor isn't working correctly. So basically, it gets covered up, and actually that was the whole origin of this material. Originally, is so I can do reworked units, and it's like, oh, that looks so nice. It's on all the units now. Plus, it helps you can't see fingerprints on here, which is nice. So, yeah. So this is my final finishing up this controller here. This is going out. There's 4 going out in order here. I want to get those done tonight, and maybe a couple more. My whole goal is to get 10, 11, 12 controllers done in the next day or two, and get them all shipped out, so that way I can switch back to Intellivision and not have to do this huge batch of controllers. It's a little boring doing the same operation over and over again, I gotta be honest. So you can see on the screen, that's Star Wars the arcade game. The reason I like to use this is it's really easy to tell if your pots are centered well. So in case anyone has any version 2 or above of my controllers, I've shown this before, but this is all the newer controllers. This is how you actually can adjust if you open these up, it'll be a little more tied down to this. But that's your X, there's your Y pot, and you can see it is skewing slightly to the left. And what I'm going to do now is embiggen this capture here just a little bit so you can see a little better, but I don't want to hide the controller itself. So if you look again, everything will be tied down more because I'm just finishing this one up, but you can see that there, that's a little screw you can loosen, and it's a regular old Phillips screwdriver, and you can just loosen that little guy up, and that loosens up the pot, and now you can turn it. Sometimes it's a little stiff because it doesn't want to go. Loosen a little more. And then I'm going to adjust you over as best I can. Why aren't you moving? There you go. A little more. This one doesn't want to turn. Oh, wrong way. Don't you like your motion, man? Come on. You can turn. You too can turn. Honestly, it's not usually this difficult to slide that pot over. Why aren't you moving? I'm at the end of the travel, is the question. Maybe. Double check here. You slightly skewed to one direction, my friend. I gotta pull the screw entirely. I've occasionally had times I've had to go in and just manually jigger with it. Let's get. Oh, come on. because the whole damn thing is sliding. Duh. Hold on a tick. That's why. You are being very cranky, little guy. Hold on a second. Usually it is a lot easier than this. It almost looks like I need to tighten that nut down just a little bit. Internally. I actually have to go through. I'm surprised this guy is being so finicky. So internally, in the joystick, it's an industrial joystick which has been modified. I'm already mostly through the trench. I'm not even doing anything. Okay, let's take a look here. I have a sneaking suspicion. I can see the pot is not turning with it. And you can see here, this is how the two axes work. And there's little springs which, unlike the original Atari controller, this actually does spring back the center. So I'm going to pull this guy out. It looks like this one nut is just a tiny bit loose. What are you? 5? I think it's 5.5. No. 6. No. 7. 8. I don't usually have to do this, so this is unusual. Yeah, it was just a tiny bit loose. Okay. Now you're tighter. And then we're going to loosen this. Usually you wouldn't have to do this. It's just the fact it got a little skewed. There you go. Alright. So now this should be enough motion to do this. That's why the 5200 controllers take quite a bit more time to build up than like the Intellivision controllers, because even though they're 16 directions, you don't have to worry about jiggering with it like this. Why are you being such a pain? So sometimes I end up in this situation where, why are you not centering at all? It's a perfect example of why these things take longer. What a pain. See, nice and firm. I hate when that happens. Sometimes the return spring flies off. Now, this is why these take a bit longer than some of my other controllers, because either they go great, or you have to diddle with them like this and figure out why you're not getting a good center on it. And I can't tell this one why in the world I'm not getting a good centering. Oh, come on. Because when it works great. Like the last joystick I made, I didn't even have to do anything. I just plugged it in, it centered fine, and off we went. Alright, so why are you not working well? Alright, so you are centered there. So what we're going to do is loosen you up. Get this recentered. Why are you so off center? That actually looks pretty decent there. Alright. So, let's tighten you down. If you are so fortunate enough to actually own a Atari Max, see, why did you drift again? No, you're alright. If you're fortunate enough to own a Atari Max cartridge, when you boot it up, you can actually see the raw hex values coming off, and that's what I actually use for my initial calibration, is the hex values, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So if you're fortunate enough to have one, which I know they're getting a little difficult to come across. I lost one screw. Oh, that's right, I've got plenty of screws. Where in the world is my screwdriver? Oh, I'm going mad. Like I said, I've been building all these parts up for days, and I'm getting a little goofy after a while here. So I'll show you in the Atari Max what I look at when I cal one of these up. And of course I do one final check when I actually have all the screws in and everything to Jiminy Christ, where'd the screw go? Oh, I've just been doing way too many of these controllers. I'm going to be kind of glad I'm done with this batch, because it's just a lot of work. And I actually discovered I need to adjust all the quantities on my website because I ran out of 15-pin extension cables, which I use. Oh, where the screw ran off to, I don't care. I have more. Alright, so if you have an Atari Max cartridge, if you hold down, if it's trigger or fire, I don't know what they call it. Oh. When you boot the machine up, you actually get to this screen, and this will actually show you in the lower left hand corner, you actually see the hex values, which is over here. And I could tell my Y is just a hair off. X, you want to get around, I don't know, 7.5 to 7.8, 7.9. It varies a little bit, a little less than 80, or 8.7A, I should say. God bless hex values, huh? Let's see if I can adjust the Y I saw was just a little bit off. But same procedure, same set screw here, same stupid extra white wire in the way. Let's see if I can bump you up just a little bit. 7.5. The problem is your hands. You actually project a small capacitive field around your entire body. So you have to be careful when you touch these things. It's not hurting it, but if you ever wonder how your touchscreen works on your phone, it actually measures the capacitance of your finger as you swipe your finger over. It's actually really wild how it works. But this is a good little test program here. You can see the hex values there. Centered. So right, centered up. You know, nice and smooth that is. It's also a really good test for your keypad. Up, down, enter, test. Any key stop latency. This one's your memory test. Again, you can touch any key. And of course, that tests your reset button. Pause, you're not going to see anything here, and then it's this doesn't really do anything, but you could start a memory test and then hit one of the buttons and it kicks you right back out. So you know that the buttons are all working. So let's start another memory test. For some reason, these controllers never recognize the second button. So I happen to have a 4-port. That's why you see 4 sets of hex values going along the bottom, along with, let me get my finger over there. This is your fire button for controller 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I do have a couple of dual sticks I'm building up right now, and those actually I plug in both at the same time, so you actually see 2 sets of hex values, and you press that guy, it fires. So this guy's looking pretty good so far. Everything is centered out pretty well. You don't really try for like super perfection because the 5200 itself kind of does a little bit of a routine. So if I can get anything between 7.5 and 7.7, 7.8x hex, that's pretty darn well centered. So that finishes up this controller. And I have 9 more sitting over here right now. So I'm doing a lot of pre-work, but now I'm just going through building out my fleet here. And again, everyone, thank you for your patience for me building all these things. It's kind of it's not the most exciting thing for me to build up in batches. I prefer more of the artisanal kind of builds than this mass production stuff. This gets me a little slap happy after a while. So I actually have this huge rat's nest of cable harnesses and building up already built up ahead of time. So now I'm just going through the final steps of assembly and test of the controller itself. And I realized I put the wrong darn gender on here, so I gotta cut this off. I did it for all of them. That's the problem. If you make a mistake once, you make a mistake 10 times. So luckily these connectors are cheap. So I'll fix that. This is the guts of the controller. I don't need too long of a strip. These are awesome little strippers. These John Ard tools. I don't know, people at work don't like them. I think they're great because you can set the depth really easily on your strip length, and of course you have the, there it is. You can see on there your gauge, strip gauge. Kind of cool. And then and it just fell all the way to the floor. So now I need mail. If you ever do DuPont connectors, don't ever try to do the jawed ones. Get one with a linear pull like this, so you go completely crazy trying to get it done. So I'm going to repair these. Violet. Yeah, so the 5200, of course, is an interesting beast. Hold on a second. What's up?
You recording something?
Yes. What you need?
You pausing?
No, I can in a second once I find the darn mouse. Okay, so had a dog break there. Our little multi-poo need a little more food. So he has been fed. Oh. Like I said, always gets that stuff. Terminate these. Yeah, I really kind of like these DuPont connectors. At first, I wanted to do more stuff with soldering, but in terms of like the time it's been taking for me to do all the solder work, it's like it's quicker just to crimp it. And it gives you the flexibility of if you need to move things around, you can. Why are you stuck in there? Are you a bad crimp? That is the question. Usually when it gets stuck, it's a bad crimp. Actually, it looks halfway decent. Sometimes you get some of these are more brittle than others, so when you go to crimp, it's a little bit touchy. So, ever handy wooden cart full of parts. Yeah, like I said, the problem when you batch stuff, if you make one mistake, you're probably gonna make a series of mistakes. Because I actually built one up already and shipped it. I was like, oh, I got all the issues worked out, but there's always room for improvement. Now you put these in, you should actually hear a little click. There's a little part that's right here that actually engages when they're fully seated. Sometimes what happens is it crimps onto the wire insulation itself can be a little touchy. Alright, so that brings our, see, that's what I thought. Resurrected my old Fitbit to see how many steps I'm getting today. I don't like always having a phone on me. It's nice having a constant little companion reminder. Yeah, these did not. Being a little bit cranky here, guys. Oh, come on. Center one locked just fine. Wow. Oh. Okay. I am not liking this. The crimps all look good. Aren't you seating all the way? You know, when it works well, it works fantastic. When it doesn't, it's a complete pain. I also, I'm done. I put hot glue over the whole thing so they can't work their way out at all. Well, since I'm here, I can plug some of these in. Get these fast-ons on. Like a modern joystick that uses a common for the ground for the buttons. That's these guys here. So if you ever want to, for some reason, swap out the buttons, these are 30mm buttons. I only have so much depth behind the case though, So some of your choices will be limited. But yeah, if you ever want to mod one of these, I got no problem with it. If you have any special requests for like a different button or anything, I can do that too, but I'd have to charge you for whatever the cost of the button is, and there's going to be limitations of the depth behind panel. I think it's 30 millimeters depth. These are 30 millimeter buttons. I can't remember what the depth behind panel is. The maximum. I know I usually bend down these fast-ons once I haven't put on these guys here, because what happens is it kind of butts up against the bottom case, so we don't have a ton of room depth-wise, but I wanted to kind of restrict having to go too deep. Let me see if we can see the joystick part of it working. I have to do some couple more crimps for the X is just a tiny bit off. I don't want 60. So since I'm here, if I lose that screwdriver again, I'm gonna cry. Need it to be like bright orange or something. That's what it is. There's a little metal tab stuck in the back. I didn't flush enough. Oh, that's my bad. I see what I did wrong. That's a whoopsie on my part. I'll show you what I did. Probably why some of them work great, some don't. Depends how flush I cut it. So if you look at the back of these, they put this weird, like, long grounding tab on the housings. And if I don't cut it flush enough, I don't actually have a ton of room to work on these things. If I'm getting this order of 4 out tonight, probably tomorrow. So if you look at the bottom of these things, there's a little, yeah, that little tab is killing me right there. It's like a little ground tab. So I usually cut a little flusher than that. And that's why it's not turning. There we go. Well, since I have it out, there we go. And then you back down. Usually shoot for 7.5, the 7.7. Okay, so that's adjusted again. Nice rubber boot, which is very thick silicone, which is nice. Because originally these were designed for industrial use. They're pretty hardy. There's actually a steel shaft that runs right down to the center of them too. Pretty well made. I've been happy with them. Luckily, I bought a bunch of them before somebody who should not be named threw a bunch of tariffs and everything. So I threw a bunch of I bought a bunch of those. I am out of cords though, so I'm going to be ending my summer sale tonight, and unfortunately I got to adjust all my quantities to 0 for the 5200 controller because I'm out of I mean, I can make do with a different cable I have, but it's not like ideal. I prefer to use the one with a DB15 on both ends of it. So that's a challenge. So I'm going to be ending the summer sale tonight. Yeah, once I get off this video, I'm going to end the summer sale, and then I'm going to set the quantities to 0 for all the 5200 stuff until I get those new. I mean, they're on order. I think they're already got a flight to the U.S., so I should be able to bump the quantities back up when that happens. Should be like a week or so, but it'll give me a chance to catch up on the Intellivision orders, which are next. Which are a bit less involved because you don't have to calibrate those. So what I'm going to do now is just finish terminating. See, like this little board right here is the one I make up for the start, pause, reset button. 1, 2, select 1, 2. Yeah, I'll see what I can get done tonight. Talking to people tends to slow me down slightly. So I'll probably just finish this controller and see if I can plow through a couple more. And see if I can get some more controllers shipped out tonight. So worst comes to worst. Who's up next on deck here? I know these 4 are for John. Yeah, John ordered 4 overlays and then 2 classic dual sticks. That's getting worked on right after this. And then Chris in Wisconsin. And we got Jimmy in Kentucky. So that's 4, 5, 6. And then we have Joe in Colorado, 7. Then we got Jeff in Pennsylvania, that's 8. And then we have Cades, he's got in South Carolina, he's got the rework. And then finally, well, we got Classic I gotta build up. And then a dual stick overlay, which I have not cut yet, so those are probably going to be in the next batch. But for now, this will take care of all my overlay orders all the way through. Oh, when was that ordered? I'll be caught up all the way through August. Late August, actually. Yeah, all the way through late August I'll be caught up on the overlays. Then I'm going to work on the dual stick for John as well. Get that out the door. That's already cut and everything. I just need to finish doing this wiring. Let's finish this wiring up. Tell you what, I'm going to stop the video now because I just feel like concentrating and I work better listening to music. So, got to see me finish one up tonight, and I see if I can get 3 more done so I can get John's order out, and then the rest will be going out tomorrow, day after, so I'll be all caught up with all these overlays, and I'm going to jump to that dual stick, knock that guy out, and then if I have enough extra parts, which I'm a little restricted on right now, I'm going to finish up the LT. I want to get that done as well, and then of course the Intellivision orders, they're in the wings. I'll probably start cutting the plastic for that tomorrow night, and we can go from there. Everyone, as always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you all next time.